Joining me now is clinical psychologist Sebokazi Mtati, who's going to shed some light on the intricate connection between family relationships and emotional well-being. Welcome to Afternoon Express.
Thank you for having me.
Now, holiday time, family, relationships, well-being, they don't always go hand in hand in terms of being streamlined, right? Sometimes this is a difficult part of the year. So how would you suggest that we take care of our mental health when things are not so good with our family, but we've got to spend time with them?
You know, if you think about the holiday period, it's supposed to elicit a lot of joy, a lot of comfort, and it's supposed to be a period where you feel that there should be a celebration amongst family members. But it's not often like that with a lot of people because they are going back to environments where they have felt traumatized or environments where they don't feel safe or where the communication is not okay between themselves and the family members. So it's quite difficult for those individuals who are already struggling with their mental health to be in such conflictual environments within their families because we should be engaging in a supportive, in a loving way. And for me, for example, I might say that I look forward to going home because I know that my mom is going to cook something nice and I know I'm going to feel supported in that space, whereas for someone else it's different. So it's very important to be aware of that, to be aware of what being in that environment is going to evoke from you and what it's going to trigger. And as you go into that space with that awareness, it's then easier for you to cope and manage with the stress that it comes with.
Yeah, I love that, Sebokazi. So how does one then go ahead and bridge that gap between the social construction of the happiness and the joy that one is meant to feel around family holidays and the fact that there's no one that triggers us more than our family.
Yes.
And the fact that you could potentially be going to a family celebration, but you're not feeling the celebratory feels that you're meant to feel. How does one then go and balance that out before you go into that situation? Like, can you give me some practical tips?
So, for example, one of the first things is traveling. We travel right to our home environments, to our hometowns. So it's quite a bit of a stressor as well. Financially, packing is a different issue on its own. And there's also those expectations that our parents or extended family members have from us, especially if you're a breadwinner. So it's about, understanding what they expect from you, but also managing those expectations, because if you are unable to meet those expectations, then you need to actually communicate clear boundaries with your family members. That I don't have this much, but this is how much I can contribute. And additional to that, you know that you're already struggling with something. So you need to be able, once you are there, set time out for yourself.
You can put all of that into place, right? And then when you are in the midst of that family function, how does one then go about coping through that Easter lunch or that dinner? What are some of the tools that you can give us?
I think the first tool is to be aware of, so insight always leads to better judgment.
Insight leads to better judgment.
Yes.
Love that.
So always be aware when you have been triggered in that space. So have an awareness of your stress cues. It could be something physiological. You might be feeling a heart palpitation. You might be feeling quite anxious in that moment. So have that awareness, and it's always good to actually separate yourself from negativity and go out and reflect on what has happened in the moment. Because sometimes some people may often react in the space, which might then heighten the experience of conflict within that dining room table. So always step away, have a moment to reflect on what is happening. How are you feeling? What to do about it? Because a lot of people, what I may perhaps say as to not what to do, oftentimes you find that certain people may actually use self-soothing strategies, which we would often term maladaptive coping strategies, where they may self-soothe by using excessive substances. So that could be alcohol, it could be cannabis use, which may also trigger further anxiety and further conflict within the family. So that is definitely what not to do, but what to do practice mindfulness.
Yeah. And I guess to know that it'll pass, right? And then I want to leave on a positive note, because it sounds like when you go and see your family, it elicits joy and it elicits warmth and food and all those good feelings. How do we take those good feelings, if we do have those experiences with our family, and carry it through long term, so it doesn't just stay there for that lunch, but that long-term good feeling with our family can stay with us for an extended period of time?
So some people have positive relationships with their families and some people have negative relationships with their families. And so we need to foster those positive relationships. And what we take away from that is that these are people who are there to support us.
Yeah.
These are people who are there to care for us. These are people who will answer the phone when you've gone back to your own home. And these are the people that you can have conversations with. And it's always nice when you feel understood by your family.
Yeah.
And it helps us as individuals also develop that understanding for other people. So I think that's what we can take away from that.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Well, Easter Sunday is right around the corner, and on social media, we would like to know from you, what are your plans for the weekend? You can post your comments and remember to use the hashtag Afternoon Express. We'll see you after the break.